Hey there, are you ready to stop holding yourself back and start chasing what you truly want? You're in the right place, because today we're talking about how to conquer self-doubt and finally go after the life you've been dreaming about. So settle and let go of any second guessing and get ready to get into some powerful steps that will help you break free from doubt and build genuine confidence. Your goals are awaiting and it's time to go out after them, starting now. But before we begin, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an episode of our video. Are you ready? Let's go. Understanding the weight of self-doubt. Before we go into how to get rid of self-doubt, let's take a moment to really understand what we're up against here. Self-doubt might seem like just a few hesitant thoughts, but it's more powerful than we often realize. It can settle in like a thick fog, making it hard to see the path to what we truly want, and before we know it we start second-guessing every step forward. That's the thing about self-doubt, it doesn't just come from nowhere and it doesn't go away until we're ready to face it. Self-doubt usually shows up in the form of questions we'd rather ignore. What if I'm not good enough? What if I make a fool of myself? What if this whole thing fails? These thoughts aren't just random, they're deep-rooted and can be traced back to so many sources: past experiences, the voices of people around us, and even the pressure of living up to society's endless standards. The longer we allow these thoughts to sit there unchallenged, the stronger they grow. They start defining our limits, putting invisible walls around what we think we can achieve. Think about it like this: self-doubt is like carrying around a heavy backpack. At first maybe you don't even notice it's there, but over time the weight adds up, slowing you down and making every move more difficult than it should be. It doesn't stop you completely, but it makes each step so much harder that eventually you question if the journey is worth it at all. Many people reach this point and stop telling themselves they're just not cut out for the things they once dreamed of doing, but the truth is they never got a fair chance to try because that backpack of doubt held them back every step of the way. It's not hard to see why self-doubt can feel so heavy. We live in a world that constantly tells us to be the best, to stand out, and to have it all figured out. Social media makes it look like everyone else has their life perfectly together, and comparison only deepens that sense of not measuring up. We start to think that because we have doubts maybe we aren't like the people who achieve their dreams. Maybe confidence is something only a few lucky people are born with. But here's the thing, everyone feels doubt. Every successful person you admire has faced moments, maybe even years of self-doubt. The difference, they didn't let it define them. Self-doubt also grows from past experiences, moments when you tried and didn't succeed, times when you felt criticized or dismissed. Each of these moments leaves an impression, and over time we internalize them, accepting them as proof that we aren't capable. It's like collecting stones in a bag. Over the years, one small failure or criticism might not mean much on its own, but eventually all those little stones add up and feel heavy. You start to believe those memories represent your future rather than just isolated events. But the truth is, each failure, each setback was just one part of a much bigger story. They don't define your limits unless you let them. Now let's talk about fear. Fear is the sidekick of self-doubt. They're inseparable. When we think about going after what we truly want, fear jumps in with all the what-ifs: fear of failure, fear of embarrassment, fear of wasting time, fear of being judged. These are just some of the reasons we hold ourselves back. This fear isn't there to protect us, it's there to keep us in the familiar, to keep us safe in what we know. But that safety is just an illusion. By staying in the comfort zone, we don't avoid failure, we avoid growth, and in doing so we avoid the possibility of discovering what we're truly capable of. So how do you recognize self-doubt when it shows up? Start by noticing the ways you hold back, the things you tell yourself you can't do or shouldn't try. Self-doubt often comes with patterns of negative self-talk like "I'm just not talented enough" or "someone else would do it better." Pay attention to the excuses you make for staying in your comfort zone. Maybe next year I'll start when I'm more prepared, it's just not the right time. These are all subtle ways self-doubt convinces you to settle for less. The longer we listen to these excuses, the more convincing they sound. But here's the good news: self-doubt isn't a life sentence. It may feel like a natural part of who you are, but it's really just a layer you've put on over the years. Beneath that layer is the part of you that's capable of achieving what you truly want. Self-doubt is just one version of the story, a habit you've practiced, but it can be changed. It's like peeling back layers of an onion to find the core. Underneath that core is your true potential, unburdened by fear and limitation. When you start to recognize self-doubt for what it is, a weight you don't have to carry, you begin to see the possibilities that were hidden beneath it. This doesn't doesn't mean self-doubt will disappear overnight, but it does mean you'll stop letting it decide for you. With every step you lighten the load, learning to trust yourself just a bit more each time. Your potential is still there, waiting for you to see past the fog of doubt and step into the life that's meant for you. The roots of self-doubt. Self-doubt doesn't just appear out of thin air, it has roots, and understanding where it comes from is one of the first steps toward weakening its hold on you. Think of self-doubt as a persistent weed in a garden. At some point a seed was planted, maybe from a comment someone made, an experience that didn't go well, or an expectation that felt too big. Over time that seed grew roots, and if we're not careful it can take over the garden of our mind, crowding out confidence and hope. For many people self-doubt begins in childhood. Maybe you heard your teacher say not everyone is good at math, or some people just aren't natural artists. Comments like these may seem small, but they have a way of planting seeds in our minds that grow into beliefs over time. Even our families can unknowingly contribute to self-doubt with advice meant to protect us. You might want a backup plan, or don't aim too high. While these statements are often meant to be helpful, they can have a lasting impact, creating a mindset that's more cautious than courageous. Then there are the times we've tried and failed. Each experience where things didn't go as planned, each time we didn't get the outcome we hoped for, becomes another root in the soil of self-doubt. Instead of seeing these moments as isolated events, we internalize them as evidence of our limitations. It's like our mind keeps tally, each failure adding a mark on the list of reasons why we should hold back. Before long we start to believe that failure isn't just something that happened, it's part of who we are. But these past setbacks aren't proof of what we're capable of, they're simply part of a much bigger journey, one where resilience is built one step at a time. The society also contributes to self-doubt. Social media makes it feel like everyone around us is achieving success effortlessly, living a life free of mistakes and struggles. We compare our reality to their highlight reel, feeling as if we're falling short because we're not achieving as quickly or flawlessly as they seem to be. These comparisons can make us doubt our worth, as if success looks a certain way and we don't fit the mold. But the reality is that everyone has their battles. The faces we see on social media are often edited versions of people's lives, edited to show only the wins, never the setbacks. Another major root of self-doubt comes from the fear of judgment. The truth is, none of us want to look like we don't have it all together. We want others to see us as capable and strong even when we're struggling inside. This pressure to appear perfect can stop us from trying anything new, because if we don't try we can't fail. We hold back our ideas, keep our opinions to ourselves, and stay in situations that feel safe. The fear of judgment convinces us that the risk of looking foolish is worse than the reward of going after what we truly want. But think about it, how often are we really judging others? Most people are focused on their own lives and their problems. The truth is that judgment from others is often just an illusion of fear we build up in our minds. Cultural expectations also play a role in how we see ourselves. Different cultures have different ideal of what success and failure look like, and those standards can weigh heavily on us. For some, success might mean achieving certain academic or career milestones. For others it could be about fitting into specific roles or family expectations. These expectations create a framework for what we think we should be doing, and when our lives don't align with these standards, self-doubt starts to creep in. We start questioning if we're on the right path or if we're somehow falling short of what's expected. The truth is, self-doubt doesn't come from within us. It's a patchwork of voices, experiences, and expectations that we've absorbed over time. It's like trying on clothes that don't fit but feeling obligated to wear them anyway because they're familiar. Over time we start to mistake self-doubt for our own voice, believing it's part of who we are, but it's not. The real you is the person beneath these layers of doubt, the one who's capable, resilient, and ready to grow. Recognizing that self-doubt isn't your true voice is the first step towards seeing past it. So how do we start to uproot this self-doubt? Start by challenging where it comes from. Reflect on those memories and experiences that still echo in your mind. Who told you that you weren't good enough or that you needed to be realistic? What are the past mistakes that you've let define your present? Look at each of these roots and ask yourself if they truly belong to you or if they're just stories you've picked up along the way. The beliefs that shaped you don't have to define you, they're simply part of the journey that brought you to this point. Self-doubt might feel like it's woven into who you are, but it's really just a series of impressions and beliefs you've held onto over time. The more you start to question these roots, the more you begin to see that they don't actually define you. Try to think of your mind as a God garden. You have the choice to clear out what no longer serves you and make room for growth, and as you do, you'll start to notice the voice of doubt growing quieter, replaced by a sense of calm confidence. This is the part of you that knows what you want and what you're capable of, and that's been waiting for you to see past the fog of doubt. Reframing. Failure and risk. Failure and risk often feel like two of the biggest obstacles on the path to what we truly want. They're the walls we face towering over us, making us hesitate. But what if we could see them differently for a minute? I'd like you to think of failure as a stepping stone and not the end product. Risk isn't a threat but a bridge. These aren't barriers, they're pathways, each one marking a new chapter in the journey forward. Failure often feels like proof that we're not good enough, but that's a narrow way to see it. Every time we fail, we are actually gathering evidence of our resilience, of our ability to step up and try again. Think about it. Every successful person you admire has a series of failures woven into their story. No one reaches success without them, but somehow we often feel as if we should be able to. If you dig deeper into the lives of those who inspire you, you'll find that they've faced setbacks, disappointments and challenges that they had to navigate. The difference is that they learned to see these moments as part of the process. They didn't let failure define their potential. Instead, they used it as a learning ground, a place to gain experience and insight. It's also important to remember that failure is often misunderstood because we expect it to feel like a huge clear event, but failure is rarely one big dramatic moment. It's more often a series of small everyday challenges. These small failures are part of learning and adapting. It's like taking steps on an uphill path. There will be moments where you trip, where the journey feels tough, but each step is still moving you forward. This is why it's essential to shift our mindset around failure. Rather than seeing it as something negative, try to see it as part of the forward motion, a part of growth that can actually make you stronger, more resilient and ultimately more successful. As for risk, many of us have been taught that risk is something to avoid at all costs, but if you look closely, you'll see that risk is not about stepping into danger, it's about stepping into possibility. Risk is what bridges the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Without it, you stay exactly where you are, in a comfort zone that feels safe but keeps you from moving forward. Try to think of risk as a leap you take, knowing that while there's no guarantee, there's also no way forward without it. You can spend a lifetime avoiding risk, but in doing so you're avoiding growth, change and the potential for true fulfillment. Another key to reframing risk is to think of it as an investment. When we take a risk, we're choosing to invest in our potential, our dreams and our future. Risk isn't reckless, it's a statement of belief in what could be. Yes, there's a chance it won't go as planned, but there's also a chance that taking that leap will lead to something even better than you could have imagined. Risk requires us to trust ourselves and to value the journey even when the outcome isn't inevitable. When you reframe failure and risk, you are essentially telling yourself that growth is worth any temporary discomfort or setbacks. Each time you fail, you're gaining insight into what works, what doesn't, and how to adjust moving forward. Each time you take a risk, you are opening yourself up to new experiences that can expand your understanding, your skills and your confidence. So the next time you think about taking a risk or worry about potential failure, remember this: by avoiding them, you're avoiding the experiences that could shape you, guide you and ultimately lead you to your goals. Every failure, every risk, every attempt is part of a bigger picture, part of the path to becoming who you're meant to be. Growth doesn't come from standing still, it comes from stepping forward even when the ground feels unsteady. Failure is just feedback, a signal that you're in motion, that you're pushing your boundaries, that you're doing something real. Risk is the leap that says, I believe in the possibility of what I could be. Embrace these as essential parts of any path worth taking. Listening to your inner compass. Deep down, each of us has a compass, a quiet but steady guide pointing toward what we truly want. It's that pull you feel when you imagine living life on your own terms, the spark that comes alive when you picture doing what genuinely matters to you. But when self-doubt and external expectations pile up, that inner compass can feel buried, almost forgotten. Reconnecting with it means learning to listen to your own voice again above all the noise. This compass isn't random, it's built from your deepest values, desires and strengths. It'll help if you think of it as the part of you that knows what you're capable of and what brings you fulfillment. Following it means aligning your life not with what others expect but but with what genuinely resonates with you. When you honor this inner guide, you start to make choices that feel right, not because they're easy or comfortable, but because they're true to who you are. Our world is full of maps drawn by other people, paths laid out by expectations or the achievements of others, but those maps can't lead you to where you're meant to go. Only your inner compass can do that. When you start paying attention to what feels right for you, that compass becomes clearer, guiding you through decisions and opportunities and showing you the way forward. So take a moment, think about what you want separate from what you think you should want. What does your inner compass point toward? Maybe it's a career change, a creative pursuit, or simply living with more intention. Trust that compass, it's been with you all along, waiting for you to listen, to take that first step toward what's truly meant for you. Practical steps to overcome self-doubt. Breaking free from self-doubt doesn't happen overnight, but it begins with small intentional actions. Even each step you take is a vote of confidence in yourself, a way of showing that self-doubt doesn't get to control your life. The first thing to understand is that waiting until you feel ready is just another way of letting self-doubt hold you back. There will rarely be a perfect moment, so start with one small action, even if it feels uncertain. Begin the project, make the call, and write that first page. Once you're in motion, self-doubt begins to fade into the background. Another way to weaken the grip of self-doubt is by practicing self-compassion. Most times we're harder on ourselves than we would ever be on anyone else. Growth naturally includes mistakes. They're a sign of learning, not failure. When you slip up or face a setback, remind yourself that everyone has moments of struggle, and treating yourself with understanding can make all the difference. Self-compassion isn't about giving yourself a free pass, it's about creating a foundation of kindness that allows you to move forward with resilience. Finally, build momentum by starting with small wins. Each time you accomplish something, even a minor task, you are proving to yourself that you're capable. These little victories aren't just steps forward, they're bricks in the foundation of your confidence. Self-doubt thrives when you hold back, but confidence grows each time you take action. Over time, this collection of small successes builds up, creating a solid foundation for even bigger steps. By consistently taking action, treating yourself with compassion, and building on small wins, you begin to see self-doubt for what it is, just a shadow, something that feels real, until you step forward and watch it fade step by step. You're rewriting the story you tell yourself, choosing courage over doubt. The journey ahead, the journey to overcome self-doubt and go after what you truly want, isn't a straight line. It's a winding path with moments of clarity and days when doubt tries to creep back. But remember this: every step you take forward, no matter how small, is a vote of confidence in yourself. You don't need to have it all figured out to start moving. In fact, waiting until you feel completely ready is often just self-doubt's final disguise. The truth is, no one feels perfectly ready to begin a journey worth taking. Each new chapter brings a mix of excitement and fear, but the key difference is in how you respond to that fear. Will you let it keep you still, or will you choose to step forward, even if it's just a single step? The journey ahead isn't about avoiding self-doubt altogether, it's about learning to walk alongside it without letting it hold you back. As you step forward, let go of the need for perfection. Try to face the imperfections, the stumbles, the learning moments. Trust me, progress isn't measured by flawless steps, it's measured by the courage to keep going despite the challenges along the way. You'll encounter new opportunities, unexpected turns, and moments that will test your resolve, but with each experience you're building a foundation of resilience, a foundation that won't easily crumble the next time self-doubt tries to make an appearance. There's also beauty in knowing that this journey is uniquely yours. No one else has lived your experiences, felt your passions, or dreamed your dreams. The goals you're reaching for, the risks you're willing to take, these are deeply personal choices shaped by the person you are and the life you envision. Your journey won't look like anyone else, and it doesn't need to. This isn't about following a prescribed path, it's about carving out your own one that reflects your values and aspirations. Each step is a declaration that you're choosing to live fully, authentically, and intentionally. Think of the journey ahead as an unfolding story. Self-doubt may be part of the narrative, but it doesn't get to be the final chapter. With each choice you make to trust yourself a bit more, you're writing a story of growth, of resilience, of becoming. Some days will be more challenging than others, and that's okay. Give yourself permission to pause when you need to reflect on where you're headed and to adjust your course if necessary. This journey isn't about racing to a finish line, it's about learning, evolving, and growing into the person you're meant to be. Now take a moment moment to think about what you truly want. What's the vision that excites you, the goal that feels so meaningful you'd be willing to work through any challenge to reach it? Keep that vision close as you move forward. Let it be your anchor when doubt tries to pull you back. Remember, every person who has ever achieved something meaningful had moments of uncertainty, times when the road seemed unclear, but they chose to keep going, and that's what made the difference. You have that same choice, that same ability to shape your path. One of the most powerful things you can do on this journey is to remind yourself that growth is a process. The person you are today is not the same person you'll be after taking the 100 steps forward. Each step transforms you, opens up new possibilities, and builds a stronger foundation for your next leap. Self-doubt may still show up from time to time, but as you grow it becomes a quieter voice, overshadowed by the confidence you've built through experience. Finally, let's remember this: you don't have to do it alone. Along the way you'll meet people who support and encourage you, people who see your potential even when you're struggling to believe in it yourself. Lean on them. Seek out mentors, friends, and communities that remind you of your strengths and push you to keep going even on the hardest days. The journey is yours, but you don't have to carry it all by yourself. Surrounding yourself with people who lift you makes all the difference, and that it can be the key to sustaining your growth and keeping self-doubt at bay. So as you look toward the journey ahead, know that you're more prepared than you might feel. Trust the part of you that's ready to grow. Take risks and keep going even when it's tough. Don't wait for perfect confidence, build it with each action you take in the direction of your dreams. Self-doubt is just a shadow, something that fades the moment you decide to step into the light of your potential. The life you want is out there waiting for you. It's on the other side of hesitation, beyond the walls that self-doubt has built. Your inner compass, your courage, your unique path forward, they're all within you, ready for you to embrace it. So are you prepared to step forward, walk this path, and become the person you're meant to be? The journey ahead is yours, and it begins with the first step. Will you take it? Thank you for watching our video on self-doubt and going after what you really want. We hope you found this information valuable and that it inspires you to work on going after what you want in life. Remember, self-confidence doesn't come overnight, but by starting the work today and putting in the work, you can achieve your goals and be the best man you can be. Thanks again for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more valuable content like this.